All right, ladies, so we are on page 108. Um, right. And Shauna has just agreed to go to find Emily's dad at the prison. And Shauna was freaking out because she thought that Emily wouldn't be able to swim that far. Okay, so we are picking up right after the fish, the paragraph underneath the fish. I don't know how long we'd been swimming, maybe an hour. I started to feel as if I had heavy weights attached to each arm. My tail was practically dropping off. Flying fish raced along with us, bouncing past on both sides. An occasional gull darted into the sea like a white dart piercing the water. How much further is it? I gasped. We're not even halfway. Shauna looked back. Are you all right? Fine. I tried not to pant while I spoke. Great, no problem. Shauna slowed down to swim alongside me, and we carried on in silence for a bit. You're not okay, are you? She said after a while. Fine, I repeated, but my head slipped under the water while I spoke. I coughed as a mouthful of water went down the wrong way. Shauna grabbed me. Thanks. I wriggled away from her. I'm all right now. She looked at me doubtfully. Maybe we could both do with a rest, she said. There's a tiny island about 5 minutes swim from here. It's out of our way, but it would give us a chance to get our breath back. Okay, I said. If you really need a rest, I don't mind. Fine. Shauna swam off. Follow me. Soon we were sitting on an island barely larger than the flat rock that had become our meeting place. It was hard and gravely, but I lay down the second I dragged myself out to sea, the water brushing against me as my tail turned back into legs. It seemed only seconds later that Shauna gently shook my shoulder. Emily, she whispered, you better get up. It's starting to get light. I sat up. How long have I been asleep? Shauna shrugged. Not long. Why didn't you wake me? We'll never get there now. You did it on purpose. Shauna squeezed her lips together and scrunched her eyes. I thought about her pretending she needed a rest and about taking me to her school and everything. I'm sorry, I said. I know why you did it. It's too far. It's probably even too far for me, never mind you. I'm never going to see him. I bet he doesn't even remember he's got a daughter. I felt a drop of salty water on my cheek, and I wiped it roughly away. What am I going to do? Shauna put her arm around me. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry, too. I shouldn't have been mean to you. You've been amazing, really helpful. Shauna made a face at me, as if she was trying not to smile but couldn't stop a little grin from slipping out through her frown. And I know you're right, I added. There's no way I could get there tonight, not even if we were only halfway. Not even that. Look, she pointed out to the horizon. See that big cloud that looks like a whale spurting water, with the little starfish-shaped one behind it? I looked up at the sky. Yeah? I said uncertainly. Just below that, where the sea meets the sky, it's lighter than the rest of the horizon. I studied the horizon. It looked an awfully long way away. That's it, the Great Murmur Reef. It's like a huge wall, bigger than anything you've ever seen in your life, made of rocks and coral in every shape and color you could imagine. And then about 100 more. The prison's a mile beyond it. You've got to go through the reef to get there. My heart felt like a rock itself, dropping down to the bottom of the sea. Shauna, it's absolutely miles away. We'll work something out, Shauna said. I promise. Then she scrabbled around among the rocks and picked up a couple of stones. She handed one to me. What's this? I looked at the stone. They're friendship pebbles. They mean that we're best friends, if you want to be. Of course I want to be. See, they're almost exactly the same. She showed me her pebble. We each keep ours on us at all times. It means we'll be there for each other. Then she said more quietly, and it's also a promise that we'll find your dad. I washed my pebble in the water. It went all shiny and smooth. It's the best present anyone's ever given me. Shauna slipped hers into her tail, and I put mine in my jacket pocket. I didn't want it to disappear when my legs returned. I looked at the patch of light that was spreading and growing across the horizon. Come on. Shauna slid back in the sea. We better get going. We slowly made our way back to Rainbow Rocks. See you Sunday? I asked as we said goodbye. Shauna's cheeks reddened a touch. Can we make it Monday? I thought you couldn't get out on Mondays. I will. I'll make sure of it. It's just that the diving and dance display is Monday morning, and I don't want to be too tired for triple flips. Monday night, then. I smiled. And good luck. By the time I got home, I was so tired I could have fallen asleep standing up. But my head was spinning with thoughts and questions, and sadness. I'd found out where my father was, but how would we ever get there? Would we really find him? It felt like I was losing him all over again. I'd virtually lost my mom as well. If only I could make her remember. As I tried to get to sleep, something Shauna had said swam into the corner of my mind. Sometimes it doesn't work at all, especially if you go near Merfolk area. Of course. I knew exactly what I was going to do. All right. We're in chapter 10. All right, chapter 10. Mom always sleeps in on Sundays. She even says God had a day of rest, and she doesn't see why she can't. I'm not allowed to disturb her until she says it's morning, which usually isn't until around noon. I paced up and down the boat while willing her to wake up. What if she slept right through the afternoon and woke up at coffee time? Disaster. I couldn't take the risk of Mr. Beeston showing up before I'd spoken to her, so I broke a golden rule. I crept into her room and sat on the bed. I stage whispered from the end of the bed. She didn't stir. I inched farther up and leaned toward her ear. Mom, I croaked a bit louder. She opened one eye, and then closed it again. What do you want? She grumbled. You have to get up. What's the matter? I want to go out. Mom groaned and turned over. Mom, I want us to go out together. Silence. Please get up. She turned back to face me and opened her eyes a crack. We never do anything together, I said. Why now? Why can't you leave me in peace? What time is it anyway? I quickly turned her alarm clock around so she couldn't see it. It's late. Come on, Mom, please. Mom rubbed her eyes and laid on her back. I don't suppose you're going to give me any peace until I do, are you? I smiled hopefully. Just leave me alone and I'll get up. I didn't move. How do I know you won't go back to sleep the minute I leave? Emily, I said I'll get up, and I will. Now leave me alone. And if you want to get back in my good graces, you can make me a nice cup of tea, and then I might forgive you. Mom took a bite of her toast. So where do you imagine we're going, now that you've ruined my Sunday morning? I knew exactly where we were going. Shiprock Bay. The nearest you could get to Rainbow Rocks by road. I'd been studying the bus routes, and there was one that took us almost all the way there. We could get off on the coast road and walk along the headland. It must be worth a try. I had to jog her memory somehow. I just thought we could have a day trip around the coast, I said casually as I popped a piece of toast and strawberry jelly in my mouth. Well, what about Mr. Beeston? What about him? I nearly choked on my toast. We'll have to be back by 3. We can't let him down. Oh, Mom, can't you break your date with him for once? Emily, Mr. Beeston is a lonely man and a good friend. How many times do I have to tell you that? You know I don't like letting him down. He has not broken our arrangement once in all these years, and I'm not about to do it to him now. And it is not a date. Whatever. This wasn't the time to tell her what I knew about the lonely man. What did I know, anyway? Nothing that had made any sense. I swallowed hard to get my toast down. My throat was dry. We'd still have time to get there. Maybe we could accidentally on purpose miss the bus back. I'd think of something. I had to. This is really nice, actually. Mom looked out of the window as we bumped around the coast road. It had started to turn inland, and I was trying to figure out which stop would be best for us to try. The ocean looked completely different from this angle. Then I saw a familiar clump of rocks and decided to take a chance. I got up and rang the bell. "This is our stop," I said. "You know, I think I'm almost glad you woke me up," Mom said as we got off the bus. "Not that that's an excuse to do it every week." She walked over to a green bench on the headland that looked out to the sea and sat down. "And you've picked such a nice spot, too." "What are you doing?" I asked as she reached into her bag and brought out the sandwiches. "Well, we're having a picnic, aren't we?" "Not here." Mom looked around. "Why not? I can't see anywhere better." "Mom, we're right by the road. Let's walk out towards the water a bit." She frowned. "Come on, just a little way in, please. You promised." "I did no such thing," she snapped, but she put the sandwiches back anyway. And we headed along a little headland path that led out toward the beach. After we'd been walking for about 15 minutes, the path came to an abrupt end. In front of us was a gravelly climb down the cliff. "Now what?" Mom looked around. "Let's go down there." "You must be joking. Have you seen my shoes?" I looked at her feet. Why hadn't I thought to tell her not to wear her platform sandals? "They're okay," I said. "Emily, I am not going to break my ankle just so you can drag me off down some dangerous cliff." She turned around and started walking back. "No, wait." I looked around desperately. She couldn't leave. She had to see the rocks. A winding path lay almost hidden under brambles, stony and rough, but not nearly as steep as the other one. "Let's try here," I said. "And look, it gets flat again over there if we can just get down this part." "I don't know." Mom looked doubtfully down the cliff. "Come on, let's try it. I'll go first, and then I can cushion your fall if you trip and go flying." I tried an impish smile, and she gave in. "If I break my legs, you're bringing me breakfast in bed every day until I'm better. Deal." I picked my way through the brambles and stones, checking behind me every few seconds to make sure Mom was still there. We managed to get down to the rocks in one piece. Mom rubbed her elbow. "Ouch, thorns." She pulled up a piece of seaweed and rubbed it on her arm. I gazed in front of us. Just a few yards of water separated us from Rainbow Rocks. I couldn't help smiling as I watched the sea washing over the flat rocks, rainbow water caressing them with every wave. "Mom?" I took a deep breath. "Do you believe in mermaids?" I asked, my throat tight and strained. Mom laughed. "Mermaids? Oh, Emily, you do ask some silly—" But then she stopped. She dropped the seaweed on the ground, looking out to sea. Her face went all hard. "What is it, Mom?" I asked gently. "Where are we?" she whispered. "Just by the coast. I just thought it'd be nice to go out for—" "What is this place?" I hadn't actually thought about what I'd say once we got here. What would she do if she knew? Not just about Jake, but about me, too. What if she only half remembered? She might think we were both freaks. Maybe she'd be ashamed of us. Why hadn't I thought this through? I cleared my throat. It's just some rocks," I said carefully. "Isn't it?" Mom turned to me. "I've been here before," she said, her face scrunched up as if she was in pain. "When?" "I don't know, but I know this place." "Shall we go farther down?" "No." She turned back the way we came. "Emily, we have to go back. Mr. Beeston will be expecting us." "But we just got here. Mr. Beeston won't be around for ages yet." "I can't stay here," Mom said. "I've just got a bad feeling about it. We're going home." She started walking back so quickly I could hardly keep up. We ate our sandwiches on the green bench on the headland, after all. A bus went whizzing past just as we were approaching the road. So there was nothing to do but wait for the next one. We ate in silence. Me not knowing what to say, Mom gazing into space. I kept wanting to ask her things, or tell her things, but where could I start? Eventually, another bus came, and we rode home in silence as well. By the time we got back to Brightport Pier, it was nearly 4 o'clock. Are you angry with me? I asked as we let ourselves into the boat. Angry? Why? You haven't done anything wrong, have you? Mom searched my face. I wanted to have a nice day out, and now you've gotten all sad. Mom shook her head. Just thoughtful, sweetheart. There was something about that place. Her voice trailed off. What? What was it? It was just such a strong memory, but I don't even know what it was. She shook her head again and took her coat off. Listen to me, talking drivel as usual. You're not talking drivel at all, I said urgently. What was the memory? Mom hugged her coat. Do you know, it wasn't a memory of a thing, more of a feeling. I felt an overwhelming feeling of love. Love? And then something else. Sadness. Enormous sadness. Mom took her coat down to the engine room to hang it up. I told you I was talking nonsense, didn't I? She called. Now, get that tea kettle on and I'll go and give Mr. Beeston a shout. I'll bet he's wondering where we've been. I glanced out the window as I filled the kettle. Mr. Beeston was on his way up the pier. My whole body shivered. He was striding fast and didn't look happy. Pow, pow, pow. He banged on the roof as Mom came back in the gallery. Oh, good, he's here. Mom went to let him in. Hello, she smiled. I was just coming to... Where have you been? He demanded. We've been out for a little adventure, haven't we, Emily? Just up along the... I was here at 3 o'clock, he snapped, stabbing his finger at his watch. I waited a whole hour. What's the meaning of this? His head snapped across to face me. I swallowed hard. Mom frowned at us both. Oh, come on, there's no need to get upset, she said. Let's have some coffee. She went to get the cups and saucers. What have you got for us today, Mr. B? Some lovely cinnamon buns with vanilla glaze. Donuts, Mr. Beeson said, without taking his eyes off me. I haven't done anything, I said. Of course you haven't, Emily. Who said you did? Now, won't you please join us? Mom held a cup out to Mr. Beeston as he finally turned away. He took his jacket off and folded it over the back of the chair. No thanks. I lay on the sofa and eavesdropped, waiting for Mr. Beeston to try to inject her with the memory drug. I had to catch him in the act to prove to Mom that he really wasn't her friend. But what if he got me first? What if he injected me with the memory drug too? But he didn't do anything. As soon as he sat down with Mom, he acted as though nothing had happened. Then they just drank their coffee and munched donuts and chatted about condo owners and the price of mini golf. They'd barely finished eating when Mr. Beeston glanced at his watch. Well, I've got to move along, he said. You're going? But he hadn't drugged her yet. Maybe he didn't do it every week. Well, I'd be waiting for him as soon as he tried. I have a 4:45 appointment, he growled, the left side of his mouth twitching as he spoke. And I don't like to keep people waiting. I didn't say anything. Goodbye, Mary P. He let himself out. Mom started clearing the cups away, and I grabbed a hand towel. So, you were saying earlier, I began, as Mom handed me a saucer to dry. Saying, about our outing. Oh, of course, the little trip to the headland, Mom smiled. Lovely, wasn't it? Not just at the headland, I said. The rocks. Mom looked at me blankly. Rainbow rocks. The words caught in my throat as I held my breath. Rainbow what? Mom, don't tell me you've forgotten. The rocks. The rainbow colors when the sea washes over them. The way you felt when you were there, love and sadness and stuff. Mom laughed. You know, Mrs. Partington told me at our last parent-teacher conference that you had a good imagination. Now, I know what she means. I stared at her. as she bustled around the galley, straightening the tablecloth and brushing crumbs off the chairs with her hands. What? She looked up. Mom, what do you think we were talking about before Mr. Beeston came around? Mom shut one eye and rubbed her chin. Heck, give me a minute. She looked worried for a minute, then laughed. You know, I can't remember. God, never mind. Now bring me the broom and the dustpan. We can't leave the carpet like this. I continued to stare at her. She'd forgotten. He had drugged her. After all. But how and when? Come on, shake a leg, or do I have to get them myself? I fetched the broom and a pan out of the cupboard and handed them to her. Mom, I tried again, as she swept under the table. Do you really not remember? Emily! Mom sat up on her knees and spoke firmly. A joke is a joke, and any joke is usually not funny after a while. Now, I don't want to hear any more nonsense about multicolored rocks, if you don't mind. I've got more important things to do than play along with your daydreams. But it's not a Emily. I knew the tone of that voice. It meant it was time to shut up. I picked up the donut bag from the table and went to throw them away. Then I noticed something written on the bags. MPW. Why does this one have your initials on it? I asked. I don't know. Probably so he knows which donuts are mine. What difference does it make? Come on, Emily. Everybody knows I've got a sweet tooth. I always get the ones with way more sugar. But can't you tell which ones have more sugar just by looking at them? Emily, why are you being so difficult today? And what do you have against Mr. Beeston? I won't have you talking about him like this. I'm not listening to another word. But I don't understand. Why can't he just look in the back? Mom ignored me. Then she started whistling, and I gave up and went back to my cabin. I took the bags with me. They held some kind of answer. I was sure of it. If only I could figure out what it was. I stared so hard at her initials that my eyes started to water. And then, as the letters blurred under my gaze, it hit me so hard that I nearly fell over. Of course, the memory drug. He gave it to her in the donuts.